So I read also that your parents divorced at 3. Where did dad go? And were you raised the majority of time by your mom?
It was a even split.
Okay.
So my dad remarried, and he's still married to my stepmom to this day. So we're still a family. And then my mother, she went back to Pittsburgh. So my dad and stepmom were still in the military, and my mother was in Pittsburgh. So I would live with my mom for 2 years, and then I would go live with my dad and stepmom for 2 years.
Wow, that's a different agreement. Normally it's like every other weekend.
Yeah, they hated each other.
Oh, shit. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, they didn't get along at all. And it was the 90s, and there was really no concept of like how to like navigate through that. They didn't have as much talk about that back then as they do now. So they handled it the best way that they seen fit.
Do you think that that plays into your role with how you co-parent with your baby mamas now? Because now you have 2, right?
Yeah,
you've got Vash, and then you've got the little girl now.
Yeah, my girl Cadence.
Yeah. So do you think that seeing how your parents didn't get along back then was kind of like, you were like, I'm not going to be like that. And that was a driving force in making sure you had good relationships with the mother of your children?
Yeah, I think it like subconsciously played a role. To me, that was normal when I was a kid, like spending 2 years with one parent and 2 years with another. But having kids, I could never be away from my son for no 2 years. Like, that's insane. So if I got to get along with his mom, if I got to freaking kiss her feet, I'm doing whatever I got to do to make sure that we're all on the same page. So that's not the agreement. And like I said, my parents did the best that they could. Yeah. I don't fault them for that at all. But I do know the difference between seeing your parents function and not seeing them function. And I would much rather, my kids see me and their parents function.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm an 80s baby myself, and I just feel like parents of that era, they were not ready to cope with their trauma.
Right.
They were set in their fucking ways.
Oh, yeah.
You were not going to tell them how they are going to raise their kids. Yep. And like, I don't know, I feel like we're such a generation of kids that are healing what our parents wouldn't.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think as adults, our parents went through a lot. They had trauma, before, but they were going through a lot as adults. And I think if people are lucky enough to still have their parents around, a lot of the times your parents learn more as they get older too. If you
they become way cooler.
Super cool.
They're like, why couldn't you have been like this fucking 30 years ago?
Yeah, exactly.